Will the female members of the City Council please report to your seat? Oh, there you are. There you are. Thanks, girls. Thanks for joining us. All right. Welcome. Welcome to our Downey City Council meeting. Thank you for being here. City Clerk, will you please take roll?
Councilmember Ashton?
Present.
Councilmember Frometa?
Present.
Councilmember Pacheco? I'm sorry, Councilmember Saab?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Present.
And Mayor Rodriguez.
Yes, ma'am, here. So at this time, I'd like to call up a brand newly ordained pastor, Alex Vargas, to do the invocation. Alex, please come up.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Let's go ahead and bow our heads, close our eyes. Father God, we come before you. We just thank you for another day of life, Lord, that you've given every single one of us. Lord, we thank you for what you're doing in this beautiful city of Downey, God. We thank you for our mayor and our council members, God. We thank you for unity within this group of people, God, that you have called to lead this city into greatness, Lord. And I pray, God, that you continue to be with every single one of them, lead them and guide them. Father, thank you that they have a heart for community and that they're here in unity as one. And we thank you, God. We thank you for our police department and our fire department, God. Would you keep every man and woman safe, God, as they put on that uniform, God. We pray safety over every single man and woman, Father, protecting us in this city of Downey, God. We thank you for what you're doing in this community. Continue, God, to let your light shine bright through the city of Downey. We thank you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Good job. So at this time, I'd like to call up, please remain standing, please. Oh. Nice try, nice try. I don't want to get you guys too comfortable. We got a long meeting ahead. I'd like to call up Aaron, Madeline, and Isaac Saldana for the flag salute.
Your presentations, take a 5-minute break to clear all those kids out so they don't have to hear them.
Okay.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, kids. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call my council members to report out their past few weeks and future agenda items and announcements and so forth, starting with Councilman Saab.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see so many residents and are visiting us this evening, especially given that it's spring break. I hope everyone had an enjoyable Easter this past Sunday, if you celebrate Easter. Just a couple of people I want to recognize in the audience. We have Executive Director of the Downey Chamber of Commerce, Michael Calvert, with us today. And I also Planning Commissioner for District 5, my Planning Commissioner, Noveras Frometa. And then also representing Senator Archuleta, Scott Collins is in the audience. And then we have in the back of the room former mayor who's going to be receiving one of the proclamations tonight, Kirk Kartosian. Keep my comments brief. I just want to, this past Saturday was a very busy day in the city of Downey. I think all 5 of us were running around and trying to be as many events as possible. There were 2 events I do want to just recognize. Number 1, the library volunteer recognition a breakfast for all the volunteers. It was a very nice event to recognize the literally thousands of hours of volunteers, members that put so much time and effort into our library. You know, people sometimes that may not frequent our library think it's just a building with books that people can check out, and it really is so much more than that. It's a place where people can take literacy courses and and just a wealth of knowledge and community forums where people can interact with each other. So I think the number, if I remember, I think Councilman Ashton had mentioned it. I think it was $200,000 in volunteer labor, if you want to call it that. So that was what it was attributed to, the amount of time that our volunteers in our community, and that's really what makes our city special, is the effort that so many of our residents put in. That really makes our community shine as much as it does. So thank you to all those who are involved, and also thank you to Ben, and I think I saw him here, Ben Dickow, whose staff put that on. Thank you so much. Obviously, we know that there's some monumental changes in our library this year. For those who may not visit, it's closed right now. We haven't done a whole lot of changes to the library since it was first opened, close to 45, 50 years ago. So we're going to be doing a major overhaul, and we're going to bring it up to speed to the 21st century, as it should be. And we know it's going to turn out to have an amazing product that our community can continue to be proud of. So thank you to all those who were involved. Also Saturday, there was the paper shredding and mulch event. It was extremely well attended, and I know some people were a little disappointed because they had to actually shut it down a little early. It was till 12 o'clock, but they can truck out full. There was really not much more they can do. So I'm sure we'll be looking at that a little closer. Maybe we can do it a little more frequent. But thank you all who came out. And then that same day, we also had the Earth Day planning for the first annual Arbor Day event on the Breezeway, and there was some State Gallery was there, and the library, and some other organizations, and it was nice to see that. Hopefully that will turn into a yearly event where we can celebrate the good things that we can do as a species, as a human species, to protect our Earth and to celebrate all the good things. And then today was a special event. I'm sure the mayor's going to say a few more words, but I'm proud to be part of the board for the Downey Police and Fire Foundation, where we recognize two outstanding individuals in our fire and police department. And it was just an overall great, feel-good event, and just to celebrate the good efforts of two outstanding individuals that put their heart and soul into our community. And we just want to thank all those who are involved in that as well. I did want to recognize Lenora Perry and her husband Tony, who are representing here tonight, the Lions Club. I think there's some more Lions Club members here. Oh, everybody's here. Okay. So welcome. Thank you for all you do for our community. The Lions Club is one of many service clubs that we have in our community that really fills that gap sometimes that people have, mostly with kids that backpack and the goods at different events that provide breakfast items, and they're always doing service in our community. And we just appreciate you guys so much for all you do, whether it's Lions Club, Kiwanis, Optimus, Rotary. All of you do a great job. So thank you for that. One item. I know we discussed it with our city manager. I know there's a couple things that ICRMA, our insurance, offers. Some courses maybe that we can just take a look at. Maybe there's a few that can apply to the city council, and we can implement those in the city council. I'm sure we'll be discussing that soon. And just a reminder, on the 25th of April, this Thursday, is the Carpenters Tribute at the Downey Theater. Tickets are still available. As you all know, we have one of our principal figures in our history of our city is Karen Carpenter and her brother, and there's going to be a tribute this Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Downey Theater, so everyone is invited. I think there's a few tickets were, is it sold out yet, Pam? I don't think so. The Carpenter, is it sold out? It's not sold out, so there's a few tickets left. You can visit the box office. And then Friday, there's a ribbon cutting at Crimson Coward Chicken. We went last Saturday, a few of us, after the event, and it was incredible. The line was literally around the corner. And if anyone wants to attend, it's 11 a.m. on Friday. It's on Lakewood, 10405 Lakewood, next to the post office. And that concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Here we go. Claudia Fermenta, please.
Good evening, everybody. It is so nice to see all of you here tonight. Thank you for coming. It is always a joy to see young faces in the audience. I want to recognize, of course, I know they're here for the recognition, but I want to recognize the AYSO soccer troop team that is here this evening, and all of the parents that are here supporting their children. As a mother of 4, and 2 of which played soccer since they were 4 years old, I recognize what a tremendous work these young ladies put in, and certainly the countless amount of hours the parents put in as well. So thank you for coming. I always say that strong communities are engaged communities. And I also want to recognize, of course, my husband, Olveris Frometa, who is in the audience, and as Councilmember Saab indicated, our former mayor, Kirk Hartosian in the back, Michael Calvert, the executive director of the chamber, and also a lady that has spent a lot of time and effort in the Assistance League of Downey, who just recently retired, Virginia Rivas in the back. Thank you for joining us tonight. As well as Linda Saldana, who is the president of the Downey Foundation for Educational Opportunities. She's here with her family. Thank you for joining us, Linda. It is, again, as I get to attend, I have the opportunity to attend a lot of events through our community. It really brings me tremendous joy to see the engagement that we have, not only with the city council, but with members of our community. I don't want to repeat everything that Councilman Saab said, because we were together on Saturday at the library event. But it really is such a, when people say Downey is different and Downey is special, is because of the number of volunteers and the number of involved people in various organizations, whether it's Lions Club or Kiwanis or Rotary or the churches that we have in our community. We are making a difference, and I think that's why Downey is special. I had the pleasure of being at the library volunteer recognition event on Saturday, as well as a tree planting event, and also right across the street, one of the churches, Downey First Baptist, held their first Easter car hop event, and that drew several hundred people to their facility. Today, of course, it is so important to recognize the work that our Downey Fire and Police Department do every day. And Chief Gillespie, which, celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. You mentioned when you opened up and you spoke about the individual that received the recognition today, you gave a brief description of everything that had been done in one day from our fire department, and definitely that is a lot. Our first responders and Chief Milligan as well. There is so much going on in our community, day in and day out, and certainly we face volatile times always, and yet your departments continue to make such a tremendous difference in our community. So thank you very much. It was an honor to be there with you this afternoon. Again, some events happening this week. As Councilman Saab indicated, we have the Carpenters Tribute on Thursday. If you can't make it to that, do make it Friday to the Downey Symphony Guild Annual Gala fundraiser at the Los Amigos Golf Course. It is such a privilege to be able to have a symphony in Downey, and it is such a privilege to have organizations like the Downey Foundation for Educational Opportunities that provides dance and sports and music opportunities at a lower cost for this community. And we are we gain so much by being able to be engaged and involved and support these organizations. Last but not least, I do want to encourage you to join us on Saturday for the Downey One Day of Service. Mr. Mayor will talk a little bit more about that, but as of today, we have 400 people coming. And again, you want to make a difference in your community, show up on Saturday. There is so much to be done, and when we say we want to impact lives, this is how we do it. We can't, your city government cannot do it alone, police and fire cannot do it alone, and service clubs cannot do it alone, only when we come together. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. That will conclude my comments for tonight.
Thank you, Claudia. Sean Aston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 23rd meeting. It's good to see so many people in the audience today. Again, a lot of the events we had this past Saturday, very busy day. Again, with the library volunteers, I just have to say thank you to all those people that have volunteered for our library over the past 12 months. It was it's just, every time I go to that, I'm just amazed at, you see some new faces, but you see some of the same faces that are there, and just how much they care about our Downey Library. And again, saving over $200,000 worth of costs that the city would normally have to pay. These people are helping the city, use that money towards other things to help with the library. So, thank you to all those volunteers that are out there. Again, with the mulch event, and we also had our Keep Downey Beautiful cleanup this past Saturday as well. We had 93 people out at the cleanup behind the Del Taco. I did email the Public Works Director, but I did want to kind of express his concern with the amount of trash that's along the railroad tracks. That they already, the group that was out there this past weekend, they easily filled up one dumpster full of trash. And I know that area is technically, we're not supposed to be out there, but if we can get Union Pacific Railroad to maybe go out there a little bit more often to take care of some of those trash issues, I think that would be very beneficial, especially considering the fact that we have Keep Downey Beautiful that goes out there. We have something on the agenda tonight for the Long Beach Conservation Corps, and they go out there to clean up, and still the amount of trash is out there is a lot. So if we can get Union Pacific to either help us pay for some of this, or at least get out there and do a better job of keeping it clean, I think that would be greatly appreciated by all the Downey residents. On top of that, the mulch event was great. It's great when you go out there to, thinking, okay, I just got to get there a little bit early to get rid of my stuff after taxes, and the line was through the parking lot. It was, a lot of people out there either getting mulch or getting extra paper shredded. So it's good to see that those events are being used by our community. And I'd like to echo the comments of Councilmember Saab, who mentioned that maybe we should do, maybe a little bit more frequently, to have those events to help with maybe keeping the lines down a touch. With that, I know there are a few events coming up that were already mentioned. I know the Downey one-day volunteer. Again, if you have the time to go, we highly recommend it. It's a great way to get involved in the community. On top of that Saturday as well, on the 27th, right out here in the parking lot, Downey PD is going to be doing their drug take back. So if you have unused prescription drugs or any type of medical drugs that you're not using, please don't flush them down the toilets or put them in the trash. That's not where they're supposed to be disposed. Take them here. It's a free service. We'll take them all off your hands for you. So please drop them off there. I know the last time they collected at least about 300 pounds worth of prescription drugs, and I think as we keep doing this, I think more and more people getting used to it. I think we can get more of that. One other event that I'd like to publicize, I'm going to have my Coffee with Council Member event on Saturday, May 11th. That'll be right outside at Vaza Cafe. One of the recent changes with most of our electrical bills, if you haven't noticed, we joined a community choice aggregate program that was set up through LA County. It's called the Clean Power Alliance. And so there were a lot of questions that we've been fielding as far as, how this works. Is it even a real group, whatever? At the Coffee with the Council Member event, I'm going to have a representative from Clean Power Alliance there as well to answer any questions that you might have related to the program. And coffee's on me, so please, come on down and if you can ask about that. You can ask about anything else going on in the city. We're going to be here to answer as many questions as you have. One other thing for staff, 4th of July is coming around, and I know that we usually do a plan to make sure that we're catching those people that are doing the illegal fireworks, and I know that plan is going to be worked on as well. But I did want to kind of address some of the issues with the fines that are that we assess. I just have the feeling that people aren't taking it seriously. I know last year we would have done a better job if it wasn't for the fire that happened right by the nursing home. But I would really seriously like to look at the fines that we're charging and maybe increase them, just to kind of let people know that this is a serious issue, especially taking into account what happened last year with the fire and caused by illegal fireworks. So if we could have that brought up at a council meeting pretty soon, hopefully before the 4th of July, so that way we can have it in effect for the 4th of July season. And with that concludes my comments. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Sean. Blanca Pacheco, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and everyone. Welcome to our City Council meeting. It's always a pleasure seeing everyone here. I want to recognize my mother, Mariana Pacheco, who's in attendance. Thank you, Mother, for joining me. So the last several weeks have been a very busy time for me. I've attended numerous events. I attended Brunch with the Bunny on April 13th. And I know this wasn't mentioned, but I also attended the Rotary event, which several of us were here. And our council member, Alex Saab, was recognized at this event for his participation and involvement in TLC. So I just want to congratulate Councilmember Saab for everything that you do for TLC and everything that you do for our community. Let's give him a round of applause. Last week was also busy. I attended the Women's Club of Los Cerritos Convention. I provided welcoming remarks. I attended the Downey Council PTA's Honorary Service Awards with Councilmember Ashton. And also on April 17th, Governor Gavin Newsom came to Downey. He came to Rancho Los Amigos Hospital to do a press release. It was his 100th day in office, and he made an announcement of his fight to lower prescription drug costs. That same day, I went to the Downey Association of Realtors Luncheon. And this past Saturday, as you heard, we had a busy day. I also attended all the events that were mentioned, from the library volunteer recognition breakfast, the earth tree planting. So it was just a very busy Saturday. Also yesterday, I had the pleasure of interviewing some students at the MAID mock interview. I have been involved in this program for the past 4 years. MAID program is a program by the Downey Unified School District, where our high school juniors are given an opportunity to do an internship in the summer. And it's always a great pleasure seeing and meeting these young high school students. And today, as what was mentioned, I attended the Downey Police and Fire Foundation, honoring a police officer and firefighter. So I just want to thank our police officers who are here and present today. Let's give them a round of applause. And I also want to say happy birthday to our fire chief. Happy birthday. A couple of events that I want to mention. This Friday we have the Kiwanis Club of Downey. They're having their casino fundraiser. Tickets are still available if you are interested. We have a Kiwanian here, my mother, Mariana Pacheco, who you can purchase tickets from. Also, the one day of service was mentioned. And May 3rd, we're having the Ricky Galvez Scholarship Gala that is being put on by Gangs Out of Downey. I hope everybody can attend. Tickets are still available for that event. And that will be at the Real Honda Event Center, and that is next Friday. Also, May 4th, we're having our Downey Street Fair starting at 10 a.m. And Black Bear Diner is having their ribbon cutting on May 8th at 11 a.m. And the Seroptimist is having their casino night as well. That will be on May 10th at 6 p.m. at the Rio Hondo Event Center. And I want to mention the last event is Gangs Out of Downey. They're having their Cops and Kids event May 11th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Golden Park. This is a great event because it allows our children to have the opportunity to have a positive experience with their Downey police officers. So if you have little ones, please bring them out. Again, May 11th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Blanca. Well, it's my turn. So usually by my turn, I've already checked off all the places I've gone with these guys the past 2 weeks. I just want to bring up a couple of things real quickly because I attended the events that they all attended as well. But I also, in conjunction with that, I had the honor to attend a educator's tour with the United States Army at Fort Sam Houston. And so last week I was there to review the medical corps, the Army Medical Corps, and how the benefits that our young people can achieve through joining the United States Army, acquiring their education, and coming out of the military with a professional career in the medical field or related field with zero college debt. And I have to tell you, as a father of 2 combat veterans, I tell you, when I walked out of I thought I knew a lot about the Army, but wow, I learned a lot. I learned that a 16 or 17-year-old young person could take a look at early enlistment. They could actually join the Army, and it could be the average student, a C or D student. They can pass the ASVAB and work their way in the Army. Before you know it, they're a college-educated person in a professional career. And just real quickly, I'll tell you a little story. I met a guy named Lieutenant Colonel Burke, and Burke was that guy. He was a 17-year-old kid at the tail end of Vietnam, and he barely passed the Army exam or the ASVAB exam to become a truck driver. And one day he was helping offload the helicopter and holding a gurney and an IV bottle for a soldier who was injured in combat. And a doctor saw him. He said, "You're pretty good at that. You should try when you re-enlist to become a medic." So he did it. He became a medic. And becoming a medic, he met some nurses. They said, "You should go to college, get your bachelor's." So he did. He got his bachelor's degree. He became a nurse. And then a couple of doctors and were instructors in the nursing corps. They said, "You know what? You're really good at this. You should take a look at becoming a PA, a physician assistant." Well, that was 40 years ago. Lieutenant Colonel Burke will be a full bird colonel this summer. He'll retire in September. His retirement salary is $172,000 per year for the rest of his life, plus his increases, lifetime medical. He's got 4 master's degrees. And I tell you, he's a father of 6 children. And I will tell you, I was so impressed to meet this guy. And he said, "I'm the guy that nobody talks about. I'm the C student that barely gets by." And what a testimony he gave. So I encourage my colleagues. I was there with the mayor of Bellflower, Paramount School District, Bell School District, Valencia, Venice. I was with so many different, about 40 of us went. What an amazing opportunity for me to come back and share with our high school kids. Also, in conjunction with that, I also went on Saturday night, after all these guys were home watching cartoons at the end of their day. I continued my day, and I actually went to the Key Winds banquet. Our Downey High School, or our high school Key Winds, our Downey High School, Warren High School, Bellflower. These kids are phenomenal. And I have to show you something that just kind of set me back. They asked me to speak there. They asked me to speak to the kids, but I didn't realize they're going to present me with a kind of a collage of pictures that I've been involved with these kids since 2015. The benefit for me is that I see some of these kids that are no longer in high school. They're in college or they're professional somewhere, that they probably would have dropped out of high school or maybe not even finished, only because a guy like Alexander Gaitan showed some interest, gave them the help up. These guys are all success stories. So what a touching moment that was to receive that. So. Okay, so we have a lot of things to talk about this evening, a lot of presentations. So I don't want to linger any longer. I can talk all night about what I've done. But let's get some presentations going. Okay, starting off with my favorite award to pass out, the Mayor's Servant's Heart Award. This award is given to somebody that's recognized by somebody else within our city. They're nominated to me about the things they do above and beyond the call of duty of just being a parent, employee, a police, a fire, a plumber, a carpenter. It could be anybody in our city to do great things. And today's Mayor's Servant's Heart Award goes to Linda Salomon Saldana, please. I can say a lot of things about Linda, but she'll probably do a better job than me to say certain things. But I want to read this real quick to you, Linda. It says, in recognition of your selfless dedication and always going above and beyond for others, your heartfelt efforts and accomplishments have been enormous value to our community and have helped to further the common goal of making our city a better place for all. Given this 23rd day of April, signed by me, the mayor. So, you get this. This is a challenge coin. This is the mayor's challenge coin. I have to give you a handshake. And then this is, you get a cool head pin. I'll let your husband pin that on you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor Rodriguez, and City Council, everybody up here. This city's amazing. Basically, about 5 years ago, I stopped working to help my husband with the business and stay home with our children, and I got laid off as well. And I was producing television news, and what I just did was really just start producing here in Downey what we can do to help our students. It's all about opportunities. It's about music, it's about art, it's about getting into college. It's whatever we can do. And honestly, we have in 3 years just started an education foundation for Downey Unified, an after-school program. Our kids are going away to science camp in 5th grade. We have kids taking violin lessons, guitar lessons, soccer, basketball, and it's been so amazing because the community stepped up. I'm not doing this alone. All I've done is kind of given a vision, and everybody has helped, everybody has assisted, everybody has really come through, from talent, from teachers, directors, everybody, and it has been unbelievable. And really, we have to fight for our future, and our future are our students, our future are our kids, and everything that I know we all do here is for them. And I believe that if we can give them every opportunity to compete on the world stage, watch out, because Downey is going to really take over. So thank you.
Good job. Okay, if I can call up my colleague Alex Saab, let's talk about some soccer. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I can have everyone from the girls under 14 team, the all-star team, please come up, and the coaches, and don't be shy. So as they come up, I'm going to give a little background on why we're recognizing them today. Basically, the fall season started in August with over 100 girls in the division. These are girls ages 12 to 13. They played fall season through December, and then they picked some all-stars. Only 15 girls were chosen to fill the roster to represent the Downey All-Stars. The first tournament began in January. Area playoffs with Downey facing the surrounding cities, Lakewood, Huntington Park, Montebello, Long Beach, East LA, Southgate, and others. The girls put up an impressive 30 goals scored and allowed 0 during that tournament, and capturing the area All-Star Championship. The girls headed to the section playoffs in February in Santee, California, playing all teams from Section 11, including San Diego and other Southern California cities. Earned another impressive tournament win for Downey in Area Z. Thereafter, in March, they played in the Western State Championships in Lake Forest, competing with the best teams in California, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington states. They faced Paso Robles in the semifinal and put up an incredible victory, winning 7-0. That's right, wow. And at the final, the Downey All-Stars pushed themselves to the limits, physically, mentally, showing a teamwork at its very best, holding a 3-3 tie at the half. The girls pushed through the heat and exhaustion in the Lake Forest weather conditions and came up with a 5-3 win over South LA. They came home, they brought home the Western State Championship, the best 15 girls in girls under 14 division out of 60,000 girls in the AYSO program. They're coached by an incredible team by Cecilia and Chris, who were amazing. Let's give them a round of applause. Where's Cecilia? And who else? And Jamie. I was going to say Jamie next. And then also Jamie, who reached out to me, Jamie Martinez. Thank you for reaching out. Speaking of Cecilia Gonzalez, we do want to recognize her today. She's awarded the Commissioner of the Year for Section 11. She has been a volunteer for 10 years, was the first female commissioner ever for Downey AYSO. By the way, Downey AYSO started in 1972. Cecilia has participated in over 100 regional tournaments, which spans from San Diego County up to East LA, has achieved platinum status for 2 years in a row, is a certified coach and referee, and has 4 kids playing in Downey AYSO. AYSO, by the way, has 1,800 players every year and is one of the largest regions in our area. So let's give them all a huge round of applause. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much. My name is Wynn Powell. I've been a resident of Downey since 1969 and grew up along with AYSO. Never played it. We got involved in coaching in 1995. And in the old days, in fact, I had a coincidental breakfast on Easter with my son-in-law. He's Colombian, and he's a coach at Warren High, and he had with him the 1973 West Spartan Annual. And he's looking at it with me, and he's like, there's something missing in here. There's no Latinos in here, Mr. Powell, and there's no soccer. And I said, yeah, we didn't know about soccer in 1973. Just, back then AYSO was a couple hundred kids, and they roamed around to different parks and different high schools and got to play their games. And it stayed that way for quite a while until the mid-90s. And all of a sudden, we went from 800 to well over 1,000 overnight for one reason. Mia Hamm and Brandy Christian in the 99 Women's World Cup, winning it then. And it's incredible. Now we have just as many, sometimes years more girls playing than guys. So our program's grown tremendously, and it takes a lot of effort from people like Cecilia and Jamie to keep the region going like that. So thank you, ladies, for what you do every year. And it's nice that we have Downey Police and Fire here, because we play a lot of soccer today, and the response time when we have an injury is incredible. So thank you for the incredible response. Have a sprained ankle or something. So it was coincidence that you guys were here. Thank you. So the region has grown tremendously. We thank you, City Council, that have had kids play in our region, that support our region. It's really incredible. And these girls as you've noted, are going to be our future leaders. I've coached girls for 20 years, and I have girls that graduated from Harvard just now and are going to NYU Law School. I've got a former player that the parents back there are happy that she got a scholarship to Leland State, and she's in her junior year of soccer at Leland State in Kansas. And there's many incidents of that where a lot of people think, well, AYSO isn't about great soccer. It is, and it can be a lot. We've got kids that have graduated from Cal State Santa Barbara, got a scholarship and played there. We've had kids go to UCLA and play. So it's a tremendous organization, but it's not easy, and we wouldn't be there if it weren't for our mayors, our council people over the last 47 years that have supported us. So that was my goal here today, is give you a little bit of history on AYSO and what it means to the community, and to thank you guys for always supporting us and giving us parks and schools and the ability to have these kids out here. I don't think that it was AYSO that got them to graduate from college or go to college, but I think it was a great opportunity for all these kids to stay together for 10 or 12 years, play soccer, and have a safe place to go every weekend rather than wander off and do something else. So I think that's one of the great values that this organization brings to the community. Thank you for this time. Greatly appreciated. And Alex, thanks. I just remembered, I do want to give kudos to Alex, because I live in a world of email and response time, and every time I emailed him a question, 2 minutes later he was responding. So I don't know if he's got a smartphone or he's living by his laptop, but thank you for being so responsive and keeping Jamie and I informed.
So if we could take a picture, I'll read out the names real quick, and then we can have the mayor maybe pass them out. Sure. So we'll read out the names, and we'll give them a round of applause at the end. Mariana Jimenez. Emily Hernandez, Amanda Monroy, Annalise Caballero, Haley Scobus, Claudia Rodriguez, no relation to Rick.
That's our manager.
Isabel Regalado, Emily Rodriguez, Mia Wynn, not here. Assistant coach Christian Rodriguez. Of course, our assistant coach, Jamie Martinez. Yes, Jamie. Dana Ahmed. That was so funny. Arabella Hidalgo. Over there. Sarah Barbosa. Ariana Cardenas. Heather Dezales. Hope I said it right. Giselle Soria.
All the way at the end.
All the way. And Haley Monroe. And how could we forget? Cecilia Gonzalez, the head coach. Congratulations, you make us all very proud. Congratulations. You can line up here in front. Sir.
At this time, I'd like to call up a longtime friend and former colleague, former Mayor Kirk Kartosian.
Mark Ecumalian. He's also invited.
And Mark Ecumalian.
There he is.
Oh, you got a bodyguard. All right. So for many years, we've acknowledged the Armenian genocide, and we've actually called it our Remembrance Day. And so during this time, this month, we always prepare for it. And the first thing I do is I call Kirk. Kirk, what day are you available? Because I know Kirk and Mark, these guys are very important to their community, as well as they want to make sure that we don't forget in our city. We don't forget. So today, we have a proclamation, the Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day, whereas the extermination of more than 1.5 million Armenians by Ottoman Turks and the deportation of countless others is remembered every year, April 24th, since 1915, as Armenian Day, Martyrs' Day. And whereas 1915 to 1923, Armenians witnessed the slaughter of their relatives and the loss of their ancestral homeland. And whereas modern Turkey continues to deny and distort the facts, the first genocide of the 20th century, and further honors perpetrators of the crime against humanity as the national heroes. And whereas the continued denial of the Armenian genocide by the present-day Turkish government deprives the Armenian people the right of their own history. And whereas the Armenian people have not received reparations for their losses, and whereas ancestral Armenian lands have not been returned to the Armenian people. Now, therefore, I, Rick Rodriguez, being the mayor of the city of Downey, on behalf of the council and the citizens of Downey, do hereby designate April 24th of each year as City Day of Remembrance of the Armenian genocide, and declare in that memory of the victims in the genocide we will never forget. Signed by me, the mayor, Rick Rodriguez. Mark.
Rick, thank you so much, and thank you to the council for allowing us to recognize the events that he described 104 years ago in 1915. Mark and I are proud Americans with an Armenian heritage as well, and we're not quite as popular as the Kardashians, but we're proud. Our social media accounts aren't quite as active. Almost. But as a former teacher at Downey High School, I was proud to be able to speak to my students when I taught world history. In the California state curriculum, the Armenian genocide is part of that curriculum. And I think I speak for both of us, and I'll let Mark share what he'd like to. But this isn't just about an Armenia-Turkey issue. It's really about history, and you've heard it before, but it's cliche for a reason. If events occur and they're not remembered, they're bound to repeat themselves. So this was the first genocide of the 20th century. In 1915, and our families, I think, both came escaping before the genocide, or did yours come after the events?
Ours was after.
So my family was lucky and came through Christian missionaries to the United States in the 1890s, knowing that there were already problems in the region. But these events will continue. The persecution of Jews in the Holocaust was just a short time later in the 1940s. So you're talking about just about 25 years thereafter. So much change, and I'll just leave you with this. Between 1915 and 1940, 25 years, a lot changed that allowed more dissemination of information. You had commercial plane travel occurring at that time, so people traveled by and far, dissemination through the media and data and radio. So that just having technology today allows us hopefully to be aware of what's going on all over the globe. So I'll let my friend here, Mark, share his perspective as well. But we appreciate the City of Downey for doing this every year.
Thank you. Kirk mentioned everything that's important, but again, I have the opportunity to, again, express my thanks to Mayor Rodriguez, members of the City Council. It's greatly appreciated that now for the 16th time, the City of Downey, which I'm a proud member of, along with being a proud member of the Armenian community, I'm a proud member of the Downey community, 16th time, thanks to then Mayor Kartosian, the city council at that time, and continued by the many city councils since then, have recognized this as an official day of remembrance for the Armenian genocide. So that's greatly appreciated. As Kirk mentioned, we need to remember, because if we don't remember, these things continue. So it's very important that this be recognized, that we know and we call it what it is, and we march forward though. So again, thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to call our chief, Dean Milligan, to assist. Let's help. Yeah, oh, come on, never mind. There you go. Just let him out. Yeah. There's a bunch of blacks on there, so no cake. That's it. Okay, go for it.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Mayor Pro Tem, council members, City Manager Levis, and all of you in attendance. Tonight, I'd like to recognize the several Downey police officers and a civilian who were involved in a life-saving effort that occurred in our city on October the 2nd. So first of all, I'd like to invite the following Downey police officers down to the podium, please. Lieutenant Dwayne Cooper. Sergeant Mark Haxton. Corporal Ralph Diaz. Officer Alberto Aguilar. Detective Mark Larini. And last but not least, Detective Jason Estrada. I'd also like to invite Mr. Reno Siang to join the officers down here, if you would, at the podium, please. So a little background, these officers were on duty the evening of October the 2nd of 2018. Just before midnight, they responded to the scene of a traffic collision involving a motorcyclist. The motorcyclist, Mr. Raul Garcia, who unfortunately could not be here tonight, he's still suffering complications from medical procedures as a result of the accident, but he obviously offers his thanks and gratitude to these folks for what they did. So during the evening of the event, the officers on scene quickly assessed the situation and determined that there was a dire medical situation that Mr. Garcia was facing, and he needed immediate and decisive action on their part. These officers, Lieutenant Cooper, Sergeant Haxton, Corporal Diaz, Officer Aguilar, Detective Larini, Detective Estrada, and Mr. Siang devised a plan to lift the vehicle off from Mr. Garcia, who had been pinned underneath it as a result of the traffic accident, so that he could be pulled to safety and receive life-saving medical attention. The officers then ultimately recruited Mr. Siang to join them in lifting of the vehicle. Prior to the vehicle being lifted from Mr. Garcia, he stopped breathing, which further necessitated the immediate need to free him and start the life-saving CPR necessary. After the officers and Mr. Siang were able to physically lift the vehicle and pull Mr. Garcia to safety, Officer Aguilar performed CPR, which successfully resuscitated Mr. Garcia. Members of the Downey Fire Department then took over rendering aid and immediately transported Mr. Garcia to St. Francis Hospital, where it was discovered that he had sustained numerous broken bones and a number of internal injuries to vital organs. Without the decisive and life-saving actions carried out by the officers and Mr. Siang, Mr. Garcia's injuries would have been far worse, even potentially fatal. It is now my honor to acknowledge these folks and their heroic deeds. So first, I'd like to recognize Mr. Siang, who did not hesitate to assist in the life-saving measures by helping the Downey police officers lift the vehicle from Mr. Garcia, who was obviously in need of immediate medical attention. Mr. Siang's selfless actions helped save a life. I'm honored on behalf of the City of Downey and the Downey Police Department to recognize Mr. Siang for his act of heroism. Next, I'll just go down the list here as I have them, if you don't mind. Additionally, I want to recognize the members of the Downey Police Department before you tonight, who by their heroism and quick thinking distinguished themselves by their outstanding performance in a stressful situation with exceptional tactics and judgment that no doubt led to saving Mr. Garcia's life. It is my great honor to proudly present to you the following Downey police officers with this award of merit. First, Sergeant Mark Haxton. Detective Jason Estrada. Detective Mark Larini. Officer Alberto Aguilar. Corporal Ralph Diaz. And Lieutenant Dwayne Cooper. It's not often that we get to recognize the heroic duties that our folks do. As was mentioned earlier, they're out there every day putting themselves on the line for our citizens and for the public as they travel through our town. So I just wanted to take this moment to recognize them again all and thank you all very much for your excellent duties. I think the mayor's got something. No, hang on, don't leave. I think the mayor's got something for you too.
Is that Reno Siang?
Yes. So this is Reno Siang.
This is shown here. Okay. So on behalf of the citizens, in recognition of exceptional act of courage, Mr. Reno Siang. Officer Mark Larini. Corporal Ralph Diaz. Oh, man. Hollywood. Look at that. Officer Alberto Aguilar. Officer Jason Estrada. Sergeant Mark Haxton. And last but not least, so Lieutenant Dwayne Cooper, this goes to all these guys, I thought I'd read it one time. In recognition of your heroism while performing in a stressful situation with exceptional tactics. Your judgment reflects uncommon degree of concern for the well-being of others. Given the 23rd day of April, myself and our council colleagues, thank you. All right, let's do some photos.
Thank you, sir. Just on behalf of the officers, I'd like to say thank you. You know, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be an officer to catch bad guys, you know. I find out that there's a lot of other stuff that they do to help people out, and I thought that was really cool too, so, you know, here I am. We do a lot of different types of training to try and predict and prepare for whatever kind of situation that might arise, and this one was unusual, and this one was complicated. And we knew that the decisions we made and the actions we took would have serious consequences in the outcome. I'm so proud to be part of this team that we were able to come together, rely on our training, have good teamwork, make good decisions, a little adapt and overcome, and with the help of the Good Samaritan, we were able to save this young man's life. It really makes us feel good. So I'd like to say thank you to the chief, mayor, all the city council members for this acknowledgement. It really means a lot to us, and we were truly honored and blessed. Thank you.
So if I can call my, I'll leave it over here. Sean Ashton, come up, give me a hand here, Sean. I'll leave it up there.
Myself a little room here. Good evening, everyone. So I know that a few of you know my regular day job. I'm a teacher. I teach for LA Unified School District. I've been teaching for 21 years. But this proclamation has been passed down to me to hand off because I am a teacher, but it's not about me. Today, it's about all of our teachers in Downey Unified and across the nation who spend their own time, their own money, extra time that they don't get paid for just to make a difference in the lives of those children that they teach. So I don't know who we have in the audience as far as district representatives. I don't know if there were anybody that was here. Do we have anybody that was? Well, if you are a teacher teacher, please stand up so you can be recognized if you are here. There we go. Let's do that. So, on behalf of the mayor, I have the honor and pleasure of reading off this proclamation for Teacher Appreciation Week, which we have as May 6th through May 10th of 2019 here in the city of Downey. Whereas teachers mold our future leaders through guidance and education, and whereas teachers encounter students of widely different backgrounds and beliefs, and whereas our country's future depends on providing quality education to all students, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling, coaching, and performing community service, and whereas teachers emphasize the importance of the 6 pillars of character, trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship to teach them ethical values and to guide their choices, and whereas Teacher Appreciation Week serves to honor our teachers and recognize the lasting contributions they make to our lives. So, therefore, Rick Rodriguez, Mayor of the City of Downey, does hereby designate the week of May 6th to May 10th, 2019 as Teacher Appreciation Week, and we strongly encourage all members of our community to join in expressing appreciation to our teachers. For most of you, that'll be next week when they come back from spring break. That's probably why we don't have that many of them here. But, expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to their work. So with that, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me the honor to read this proclamation, and thank you again to all of our teachers. Yeah, if you,
the teachers are here, those 3 that stood up.
Please.
Come on up. Mariana, get over here. Come on. Right there. Hey, man. There he is. Right here. Where's Claudia? Where's Claudia? Go ahead, report to work.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. So if I can call on Boy Scout Troop 411, Downey Lions Club, the Lord's Grace Church, and Financial Partners Credit Union. Please join me up here. Line up. Boy Scouts. Lions. Financial Partners. Lord Grace Church. Okay, so this is National Volunteer Month. And as of this Saturday, we're having our Volunteer One Day. For the very first time in the history of our city, we're having a Volunteer One Day. So far, we have over 400 volunteers who want to come and do good in our city. These are just 4 examples of the groups that have signed up. Please, a round of applause for these 4 groups. So we've called upon the volunteer spirit of our city to do good things. Do good things like plant trees, cut grass, paint homes, help people that can't help themselves. Because we know the real DNA difference between our city and the rest of the world is our willingness to help and volunteer. And so this Saturday, our Volunteer One Day will be held at the El Rancho Hospital right there in the open area, the patio area. And we'll be celebrating this one day of service and launching these volunteers, all 400 of them, like an army, all throughout our city to get things done. So I wanted to provide a proclamation for National Volunteer Month. Whereas the National Volunteer Month has been celebrated since 1974 and is recognized all over the world. And whereas Downey volunteers provide countless hours of service annually, are a vital piece of the puzzle in keeping our community strong. And whereas volunteers make a lasting difference as they mentor, tutor students, serve our military veterans, protect our beautiful environment, and prepare and distribute food to the needy. And whereas volunteers lend their time, talent, voice to make a difference in their communities. Such gifted persons do not think of themselves as volunteers, but as servants, as the fullest sense of the word. And whereas the National Volunteer Month is an opportunity to express our appreciation to the residents who provide these services, and whereas now, therefore, I, Rick Rodriguez, being the mayor for the city of Downey, and on behalf of the city council and the residents of the city of Downey, I do hereby designate April as a National Volunteer Month. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being volunteers. And I will tell you, if you notice, we have business, we have Boy Scouts, youth groups, we have churches, we have service clubs. This is just an example of the groups. In our group for the Saturday, we have neighborhood watch people, we have families, we have all kinds of groups that banded together to come do good for others. So I just want to tell you, this is a sample. Thank you, City of Downey. You guys are tremendous. Thank you for allowing me to lead the charge. Thank you. Take some pictures. Right there, safe and sound. All right, let's move this back. Thank you. And then you guys want to get up your seat? Come on, sorry.
Hey, I'm in the back. I know my role.
Thank you, sir.
I have the distinct pleasure of inviting up Yolanda. She will be providing us a presentation of what the Southeast Los Angeles County Workforce Development Board is doing in our community.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor Rodriguez, and council members. As I was introduced, I'm the Executive Director of the Southeast Los Angeles County Workforce Development Board. We have the honor of serving job seekers, employers in the Southeast Los Angeles region. I want to also recognize two of the staff members who are with me today, Karina Cornell and Tammy Ferranti Lansdowne. Please stand up. And our board member, Vijay Patel, who has invited me to be here this evening. What we'd like to do is we assist job seekers in finding the resources or providing them with the resources to have move into a successful career. We deal with job seekers as young as 14, and my oldest job seeker has been 80. We run an America Job Center that has the tools for individuals to find jobs and establish a new direction for themselves. And what I'd like to do is invite Carla Reveles to come up. She's the real reason why I'm here today. Carla is a resident of Downey and took advantage of our America Job Center to help her establish a new direction for herself. She had been laid off, looking for some opportunities for change, and found support in our center. And Carla, I just want to give you an opportunity if you want to say a little bit about what you experienced, because hearing it from the customer is better than hearing it from me.
So I kind of stumbled upon Silico, and I was actually called in for a mandatory EDD meeting. And I went in and I kind of looked around the facility because I'm a very curious person. And once I stopped talking to the rep, I started asking questions to all the team members within the facility. And I want to give a brief shout out to Tammy, who was very welcoming to me. She took me by the hand and she made sure that I had all the tools, and she personally coached me before I went into my interviews. There was a lot of resources available, workshops. I tried to go as many of them as I could because there really is a strategy to job searching these days. With the technology nowadays, you're basically putting your resume through an automated system, and they really taught me how to revise my resume to really meet the requirements of whatever the jobs that are out there are looking for. So I really appreciate that strategy that was taught to me, because although it seems like it's common sense, it's not something that is common sense to someone like me, and maybe to some other people that may need that awareness and knowledge to really step up their game, because the qualities are there. We're all capable of really branding ourselves. We just, Silico's there to allow us to do it with finesse.
Thank you, Carla. So, the Southeast Los Angeles County Workforce Development Board, known as the Silico, was developed in 1983 under the direction of the City of Downey and six other cities in our region, and we exist to help our job seekers in our communities. So if you're ever looking for employment, or if you're an employer looking to hire, make sure you stop by and see us. Tammy and Karina, we're here to support you. Thank you.
So I want to thank Silico for making that special trip out here. Yolanda's a very big part of that success story of people getting jobs all over our county, and so we're very thankful for Silico. So that's it for our presentations. Let's take a 10-minute break, please. Give you guys a chance to take a little break. Now is the time for non-agenda public comment. Before we begin the non-agenda public comment period, I'd like to remind the members of the audience the city meeting rules contained in the city municipal code. Members of the audience who wish to address the city council during or interferes with the meetings, such as yelling, screaming, cheering, or whistling. If a speaker engages in the conduct that disrupts or interferes with the meeting, I will ask city manager to have the speaker removed from the chambers until the end of the non-agenda public comment period, and that your comments be addressed to me and not to any of the council or staff member. Please state your name for the record. Those wishing to speak may now come forward.
Fellow Americans.
Welcome, Mr. Herman.
Welcome. But the situation today is not a welcoming situation. You know, I was down there at Starbucks, downtown Los Angeles, across the street from the Metropolitan facility. And actually, no, it was by the so-called Metro Caltrans. And this poor gentleman, homeless individual, African-American, walked over to an elected official from the city of Los Angeles by the name of Bob Bloomfield, who's married to an African-American. However, his friend offered the homeless man a couple of dollars. And here I am sitting like a schmuck inside Starbucks observing this situation. Now the homeless gentleman walks into Starbucks. At what cost and what result? A pattern and practice by Starbucks employees who discriminate against the homeless. I and a fellow attorney were sitting there and observed that a particular security guard from the so-called, Oak Tree or whatever stupid hotel that's there came out of nowhere, and rather than being polite and asking the people from Starbucks the problem, they addressed it to the individual. And at that point, unfortunately, I had to stand up and said, why are you discriminating against this homeless individual who paid for his goddamn cookie? One fucking cookie, and you're over here asking him to leave. He's a paid customer. No matter who gives you money, you are a paid customer. And this, again, comes to the problem of de-escalation and poor training by security, poor training by LAPD, poor training by the sheriff department. But this all is a result of Ms. Janice Hahn. Today, as I participated in her agenda Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019 public hearing. And Ms. Hahn, who is a awful person at this point, began to violate our First Amendment, stating that she did not want to hear F-bombs, but rather let me refer back to the LA Times story regarding Herman. In that story, they said the gentleman engages in using vulgarity and profanity. No, he's exercising First Amendment, just as I do here every Tuesday night, second rates. And so I have to come in here, act like a true asshole, and be the trooper that I am to bring to your attention the harm, the punishment, and the humanitarian crisis that we are creating throughout the county and the city. And so I had to step back because an individual by the name of Antonia Ramirez, in the LA Times article, in herself referred to people as niggers and wetbacks. Not offensive to me. She has the floor. She's exercising her First Amendment. And if you don't understand your civil rights, if you don't want to go learn what 42 U.S.C. 1983, the 14th Amendment, and your 4th Amendment in a public meeting, get used to it. If you don't like the conduct, step out of the business of being an elected official. That's what Dean Ferguson said in Dowd versus the City of Los Angeles, Michael Hunt versus the City of Los Angeles. And Sheila Q today was so upset. She became so tyrannical and began to shout at a public speaker who was a woman who's been homeless for over 10 years. There's nothing wrong in being homeless. What's offensive is violating someone's civil rights under 42 U.S.C. 1983.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. God bless you.
Rough.
Next speaker.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Rodriguez. My name is Michelle Birding Brett, and this is my husband, Mark Brett. And I am the lead singer. Mark is the producer of the show. We've only just begun Carpenters Remembered, which will be at the Downey Theater on Thursday evening. We're here a couple of days early to do promotion for the show, and we heard that the city council meeting was tonight. We wanted to come by and thank all of you so much for all you've done for the Carpenters fans who will be here this week. And it's going to be an incredible experience for them. I don't know if you know in Downey just how much it means to the Carpenters fans to come to this city and to be where Karen and Richard grew up and where their career began and flourished. So we hope to see all of you at the show.
Yes, ma'am.
7:30 p.m. on Thursday. Thank you so much.
So I want to tell you, I don't know if you know this, or you probably know more than I do, but I hear, for the rest of you who don't know, over 125 different countries, people are coming from 105 different countries to hear you sing. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. We're very proud of you. We're excited about it. This is part of our Downey legacy, so thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. And Mayor, the last time we were here was 3 years ago at the Downey Theater. What a great...
For the 60th anniversary celebrations, and we absolutely fell in love with the city. We've come back since just for a visit, and we're so happy to be back here again.
And between then and now, Michelle is now a U.S. citizen.
Oh, hey, congratulations. Right on.
We had a lot of children here tonight, which was really great. Just what a wonderful thing for us to see and how to deal with that. But picture Michelle growing up on a farm in Saskatchewan, Canada, listening to the Carpenters on a transistor radio, which those kids wouldn't even know what that was. And then going to getting her schooling, and then singing for the troops in Bosnia, singing all over the world. We perform our Carpenters shows all over the country. But this, performing in Downey, and especially for my wife, who is now the star of her own show, you know, from a farm girl to that, you know,
that's America.
It's just a wonderful,
dream
it's an
come
honor.
true.
It really is, and for me to be able to see that and be part of it. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Hey, thank you. Congratulations for being part of the best country in the world.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, can I give you, maybe I'll hand them to
Your council members?
Council members, and right here.
A little souvenir from our show.
Right on.
Yes, they're hot off the presses.
All right.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
The 50th.
Yes, right on. We'll be there.
Thank you very
We'll be there. Thank you. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Monisha Brown. I'm a resident of Downey, and I work at the Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts. You might remember me from, I was here in January.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just wanted to report that the district's management and our union have reached a tentative agreement in our negotiations.
Congratulations. Right on.
And so this agreement provides a full 7% employee contribution to CalPERS and modest cost of living adjustments over 5 years. It will resolve all the outstanding labor issues and assures that our service will continue to remain outstanding, our revenues will continue to exceed our expenses, and our reserve funds will remain high, and our rates will continue to be the lowest in the nation. However, the agreement, it still needs to be approved by the directors. There's a vote scheduled in the Personnel Committee meeting tomorrow, April 24th, and there'll be a final vote with the collective committee, which is likely to be scheduled in May. And Director Rodriguez, we need your support, so could you please support this agreement so we can put this labor issue to rest and get back to just being good servants.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Anyone else? Noting no further speakers, the non-agenda public comment is now closed. Consent calendar. Are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from any items?
Move to approve.
No, I got to abstain a couple of
Second.
items here. Hold on a second. So I need to abstain from items 7 and 4 and 7, because they are in proximity of property that I own. Also, 8, 11, and 16, I need to abstain because my family owns a business that is involved in that. So I need to abstain from those. Anybody else?
Move to approve.
Second.
Public comment, Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. This time we'll take public comment. Are there any comments from the public? Consent calendar items.
So we have several items. One in specific deals with a street pavement program, or as they call it, rehabilitation, something I'm very familiar with. We plan to place Sully Miller $2,587,000 from Brea, or we could decide to pay Anaheim $2,292,000. But no, we're going to pay Hardy and Harper Incorporation $2,175,000. And the question is, will they do a good job? As you see, Firestone is pavement is coming apart. You see that between Paramount and Downey, the infrastructure of the pavement has failed. Anyone slipping and falling, bring your claim here, award it to Mr. Levas, and he will cut you a check for $5,000 for any damages, or pursue it in small claims. Yes. Look at here, everyone. This Thursday, 9:30, Metro. Who's the chair? The 3rd District, Miss Sheila Kuehl. Miss Sheila Kuehl, who today broke down in her own supervisor meeting. The Board of Supervisors was in a crisis because one woman decided to call Sheila Kuehl a lesbian. Is it true? Well, I know for a fact there are things that are true. Sheila Kuehl is operating, claiming that she has a certified bar license and it has expired. How many times have we heard people claiming to have certified or certification or state license and they fucking don't? This is repulsive. No, excuse me. This is repulsive. People who engage and say what they have and don't have needs to step back. Get the hell out of your business and do your job. Stop pretending to be a lawyer. Stop pretending to represent people when you do not. Sheila Kuehl, you fool. This is regarding Proposition C, regarding Metro. In addition to that, on item 16, $3.392 million for Measure R grant. Did I say that correctly? Help me out, Mr. Ashling, since you were interrupting me a little bit. Come on. Step into the ball game. Step into my fire zone, because the acceptance of statement of attachment F, I'll tell you, this agreement should not authorize the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, Metro, to put their hands on Paramount. They're full of shit. Metro is full of shit. You tore down one station. It's going to take you several months to put back, and I have to commute now longer distance using different Metro lines, and guess what? It doesn't improve the quality of my health. Doesn't improve the quality of your community. So what's the point? The point is this. Measure our grant off of Firestone Boulevard intersection off of Paramount better be done right. Meaning that you need to get an ADA consultant out there to make sure that they're up to the 2010 standard. Because I'm still waiting to see that Metro off of Downey Landing puts access for people to exit the bus safely. And they have not. They have not. So what do you think I'm going to do Thursday morning at 9:30 as I commute to LA? Going directly to the Metropolitan Building. I'm going to bring this up in discussion and talk to that faggot Eric Garcetti while he sits there and advise him, get those goddamn rats off the subway. I was attacked at the subway, the Red Line, just the other day by a rat. Rats have disease. Rats spread typhoid. That's all I need. Not only do I have an invisible disability, not only do I have a physical disability, now I am challenged with some fucking rat in the Red Line train station. And if you want to see more rats, go to the Starbucks where the issue on the homeless man was at, and you'll see the baby rats running back and forth on the planter.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. God bless you. Anyone else?
Move to close public comment.
Second.
Public comment is now closed.
Motion remains.
Can I get a motion?
Yeah.
A motion and a second for our consent calendar?
Please vote. We want us to vote?
Yeah, we have a motion and a second.
Please vote.
Yes, we do, Mayor.
Okay, please vote. Come on.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
There he goes.
The consent calendar was approved with Mayor Rodriguez abstaining from item numbers 4, 7, 8, 11, and 16.
Okay, well, Mr. Levis, we come to that time in the evening. You'd like to share your thoughts? Yeah, that little button right there. There you go.
That seems little technical difficulties here.
There you go.
Okay. No thoughts to share. I think Herman said it all, so thank you.
Okay, so this meeting is now adjourned in memory of Stephen Lecon, California Highway Patrol officer killed in line of duty, and Marty Holcomb, mother of Downey Fire Captain David Holcomb. Please, a moment of silence. Meeting adjourned.